Well, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday and welcome to those of you that are joining us live and also those of you that are going to join us on the replay. To kick things off, I'd love to find out a little bit more about you. Where are you from? So, what state do you live in? And give me a little sense of what you do as well. All right. So, if you drop a comment, that would be really helpful for us. All right, guys. So Lesli Bitel here, business coach and mentor for integrative and functional medicine health professionals. And I have an awesome show for you guys today. I am over the moon, so excited to introduce to you Caitlin Strempel, right?
Hello. Yep.
Hey, so happy to have you. I love Caitlin's work so very much. And I think you guys are going to get just huge nuggets today in terms of helping you. Really, the goal is to help you to become more findable, like organic traffic to your website by using really awesome SEO strategy. Okay, so I get the question all the time, Lesli, what can I do? What can I do? I need more inquiries, right? I'm having a hard time growing my email list. What can I do? My friends, we have the answer for you. It's called SEO, right?
Yes.
All right. So let me just give you a quick rundown on what you're going to take away from today. So we are going to cover the first 3 steps to jumpstart your SEO. And for those of you that are not sure what that means, that's search engine optimization and how to get to the top of your industry by getting to the top of Google, which is so important. So here's the few things we're going to cover in our chat today with Caitlin. How to reach potential customers who need your offerings. Number 2, how to establish more credibility. And number 3, how to get more sales with 0 ad spend, which is a beautiful thing. Take it from someone right here that spends quite a bit of money on ads. So I'm all about strategies to help minimize that ad spend and get great results organically. All right. So Caitlin, it's awesome to see you again. What a delight. I want to thank you right now for taking the time. I know you're super busy. You got a couple of little kiddos at home. Little ones.
Yes. A 1-year-old
So
and a 5-year-old.
A 1 and a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got your hands full at home and you're running an amazing agency. So why don't you give us a little bit about your backstory? How did you end up running an agency such as this? And just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So I have always been in marketing, advertising. It's something I went to school for, got my MBA, and it's something that has always been really ingrained and something that I completely love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And was in and out of agency side, marketing side. After like 2-3 years at working at a company, I'd get the itch. So I always knew that I was like meant for something more, and I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
And actually, shortly after my first son was born, at 2 months old, we had to rush him to the hospital. We found out that he was born with a heart defect and needed heart surgery. So at this point in time, I had already been in the marketing arena for about 10 years. We were in and out of the hospital. My husband was leaving for work. I was kind of just there sleeping on the floor, not seeing sunlight. And once we got him home,
that's terrifying.
Yeah. My mom, or like any mom,
I'm getting the chills just thinking about, like, I can't even imagine a 2-month-old newborn.
Right? It was crazy. And he's totally fine now. Like the craziest 5-year-old you will ever meet. He's hilarious.
Yay.
yeah, at the time, it put a lot into perspective.
Yeah.
It made me realize that I didn't want to work for anybody else. If anybody has ever been in agency side for marketing or advertising in general, you know that it's grueling. It's really long hours, you're away. And I knew I wanted to leave and do my own thing and be more available for my kids, especially with a husband who travels a lot.
You gotta have someone to hold down the fort.
Yeah, right. I know.
You have two parents that travel. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work unless you're okay with somebody else raising your kids, which
Yeah.
not, right?
No.
I was the same way. I was like, yeah. So I think I can certainly relate to that story. And I actually have a little bit of experience, working, having come from pharma, in marketing, really working closely with ad agencies. So, kind of the same thing, like like the traveling road show, if you're going to try to, like, travel with a kid, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, your child,
Yeah.
So it was a wake-up call, right?
A wake-up call for sure. Knowing that I had a ton of experience in digital marketing and really feeling into what I felt was, really great for my life and what I wanted to do. I was thinking about, and knowing that I wanted to niche down. I realized that, oh my gosh, like I feel like SEO would be the perfect space for me.
Yeah.
One, not a lot of women are in this space. I am all about uplifting women, non-binary folks in any type of space, especially one that is male dominated.
Yeah.
And another one too is, in the hospital, when I first, we first got the news that I had to go straight to the hospital for heart surgery. I was in the hospital. The doctor was somewhere, but he wasn't the first person I went to. The first thing I went to was my phone. I pulled up, went to Google and was like, what does this mean? What's my doctor's name? What are his credentials? And so that really hit home for me. And I did some research, and they recently did a study where 81% of people who are looking to make a big decision, looking to find help in any area, looking to purchase something, they go to Google first or any search engine. They do their own research. That was double the amount of people going to get referrals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's some overlap there. Like they do both, which, but basically the majority of people, they end up on Google before they ever purchase from you. So I thought that was fascinating. And it just really
percentage, right?
Yeah.
Really significant.
Yeah.
So, and even if you do get a referral, like, because that can be significant for my audience. What's the first thing that potential client's going to do? They're going to look you up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's either step 1 or step 2. And it sounds like it's more likely, to be step 1 in terms of doing a Google search. Wow. Huge percentage.
It's fascinating too, because I can be on with you. I can tell you all my credentials. Somebody could talk me up at a dinner party, but ultimately before you ever talk to me, you're going to be like, okay, who is this person? And you're probably going to go Google me. And I want my story to align with what Google is telling you.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay. So you decided to leave corporate America and really hunker down and specialize in SEO, right? And so tell us a little bit like what you do now, just so we all have kind of a frame of reference for how you help people with SEO. And then we'll delve into, some of the topics that we want to make sure we cover so that our audience can, have some really significant nuggets or takeaways that they can begin to implement.
Yeah. So our core offerings are SEO website audits. So for the entrepreneur who either has a team or has more time and wants to invest their time in focusing on SEO. So we go in there, we basically look at every single page, do the keyword research for you, which I'm going to get into later, and do all the brain work for you. So you just have to copy and paste and actually implement it. Then we have our done for you monthly management. Which is, we're all or nothing. So it is the content writing. It is on-site optimizations. It's getting you digital PR, getting you backlinks, things like that. And then we have just the straight content plan, which is a huge part of SEO. And it's been a lot bigger and a lot more important in the past 2 years than ever before.
Hmm.
And then we make sure that we get it ready for you. We repurpose it for you so you can splash it out to everywhere else, and that we get it on your website optimized for SEO.
Okay. That in of itself is just absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So love that. Okay. So, all right. So let's delve into some of these juicy topics that we want to cover today. All right. So,
Excited.
yeah. All right. So like, what is SEO? Like, I know it's what it stands for, but really, what is it?
It is making sure that you make optimizations to your website, to actually on your website, as well as off your website. So you're making optimizations on both ends to make sure that Google, one, understands who you are, what you do. And if somebody types in your, like a service that you provide or your name, it can scan your website and say, hey, this website, aligns with what they're searching for, and they put you to the top of Google.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's really interesting, I mean, having been in business for myself for many years, like I think since '07 now, I've had a few renditions of websites in my day. And like the SEO conversation, to be honest, rarely comes up when talking with a website designer, which isn't that kind of interesting?
Yeah.
They don't do, I mean, they do it maybe a little bit, but it's not something typically that they, that's part of their program, right?
Yeah, I would say 99% of the time they don't do it. Or, they might do the basics, but SEO is really, you need to prove yourself to Google, which is a lot different than other mediums. So you need to prove yourself, meaning you need to be not breaking your back, but showing up consistently. So, once a week, and making some optimizations, putting up a blog post.
Okay.
And really making sure that you have this ongoing relationship with Google, and you are getting Google in the habit of coming to your website and getting to know your website. The more it comes and visits your home, the more it's going to feel comfortable with showing you your website, your home where you make sales, to other people who are coming to Google. So Google's main business is making sure that they provide a great user experience for the people who are putting their trust in Google.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, so in other words, like I have a lot of clients that are, in various stages of website development. So I think my takeaway is you got to ask, right? The website developer, like, what are you going to do in terms of SEO? And chances are pretty good, unless that person is like a bona fide expert in this area, you probably need additional support, right? With SEO.
Exactly. So, most website people, they're design people. SEO is the opposite side of the brain.
Yeah, right.
So likely, it's going to be two different people. And, sometimes even website builders, they need a copywriter, because again, it's a totally different craft that you are really getting into at that point.
Yeah, I got it. I absolutely got it. Okay. So what would you say? I think we have a pretty good understanding as to what it is. Why SEO? So why do we want to, make sure that we put some of our, our effort into this bucket, into the SEO bucket?
Yeah, there's a few reasons. And first, it's very underutilized by a lot of entrepreneurs. And it's a place where you can really play with. And even doing some of the bare minimum at times, like you can be well ahead of your competition, depending on, the niche that you're in, what keywords you're trying to go after. On top of that, if you can get to the top of Google, people who go search on Google, they trust Google. So whatever Google pops up at the top 3, they're going to click on one of those. They're not going to go too far down the Google rabbit hole on page 10 to do their own research.
Right.
They already know, they already trust Google. So being at the top automatically puts you as one of the top referrals. It's also great too, because if you play your cards right, if you optimize your keywords and your website appropriately, you are showing up for keywords that people are searching for. So let's say they're looking for a health coach near me, and you optimize for that and you pop up there. So they're so far down the purchase funnel at this point. Like, they know that they want to look for a health coach that they are either researching or they are about to purchase, and for that specific keyword, and they typically purchase within 48 hours. It doesn't matter if you're brick and mortar. It doesn't matter if you sell products or services online. 48 hours for a conversion friendly keyword is the medium, is the average of what you're going to see.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That turnaround.
Yeah.
So where do we get, like, what are some steps that we can take as business owners to at least get started with this process of optimizing SEO?
Yeah. So the first step that I would always do is do your keyword research.
Okay.
What that means is you are going to be doing your research. I use I recommend Ubersuggest.
Okay.
You have to sign up, but it's a free platform where you can go online.
Okay.
And you type in a keyword. So by keyword, I mean, I want to know the services that you offer, the industry you're in, questions that people are asking in your industry, and just getting a feel. It will pop up with a lot of analytics and show you the monthly search volume for a keyword and the competition. So in Ubersuggest, it'll say like health coach for women. It'll say, like 900 people a month search this in the United States. You can even take it down to state if you are more local. And it'll say, this is how hard it is to rank for this. The lower the number, it'll be, in green, so you can see it, the better. So you want to make sure that you are picking the keywords that you're going to optimize your website for, but the right one. So if you get this wrong, then you can optimize till your face turns blue and you're still not going to get the results that you want.
Okay. So when you say the right ones, it's really based on like those variables, like monthly search, like how many people are searching this per month, and those kinds of things, right? Is that like what we're looking for?
Exactly.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I would look at how easy it is. So the green color, it's going to be green, yellow, or red.
Oh, is that an Ubersuggest kind of specific color coding?
Yeah, and everyone has a ranking. Like if you go and if you have a paid program, it's the same ranking. Just I know Ubersuggest does.
I use like keywords everywhere.
Keywords. Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
So, and like I think the good ones are highlighted in like this bright green.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can
kind of the same thing
on. And then, if you're brand new and you find a keyword that is so easy to rank for, but it has 10 searches a month, go for it. Like, when you're new, go for it. And I will tell you that those keywords are so underutilized and it's a rough estimate. So I think I optimized a blog post and it was like, I think it was almost like 0 or 10 searches a month. Got it to the top of Google super fast.
Okay.
And to this day, get hundreds of searches just from that one blog post because, it increased in popularity, the keyword in general as the awareness grew. And also it was just, these things, they don't know it all. It's a rough estimate.
Right.
Take it with a grain of salt.
That is so interesting. So 10. So, like I probably would have looked at that and said, it's really like 10 searches a month. Like, but I get what you're saying. So basically what are the ranges that you would recommend for searches per month?
So if you are brand new, go with just the easiest to rank for. If you can get ranked if you can just get ranked for 1 or 2 keywords, Google sees that. And then you can add on top of that and you can go a little bit harder and a little bit harder. I always, I use the metaphor or I relate it to Amazon. Like
Yeah.
they went for textbooks straight out of the gate. That was
Okay.
it. Then they slowly went for books and now they're taking over the world. So be the Amazon, start small.
Okay.
But I mean, if you have been doing SEO and if your website has been around forever, you can go harder and you can also play with all of them. You know, stay away from the reds. You probably don't want to mess with the reds right now, but anything yellow and green, play around with it.
Okay. That sounds fair. So, so don't rule out the small, like number searches per month. It's really important to look at how easy or difficult it is to rank.
Yep.
Right. Okay. That's a great pearl.
Yeah, and it looks, I see Karen. She's saying that she's seeing the same thing.
Okay. Hey, Karen, how are you? Yeah, I know Karen loves this topic. And so Karen says, I have found the same thing by optimizing SEO for a blog post. I just outperformed all of my other posts by a long shot. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'd love to get some comments from everybody just so I have a sense of well, first of all, where are you located? And let me know if you can just leave me a comment so that Caitlin and I can look to get a sense of where you are in your SEO journey. All right. So, yeah, so Karen has been in many of my courses and programs. And we, in one of those programs, we did some kind of high level training on how to optimize a blog post. So, isn't that great? Yeah. Yeah. Because, I have so many clients that are writing, right? And, let's be honest, you only have so much time in a day. And, for a lot of us sitting down and writing a blog post, like I can think of things I might rather be doing, right? So, right? Like, just the sitting part alone is kind of challenging at times, right? Because, anyway, but we want our work to be strategic, right? Like if I sit down and write a blog post, I want to know that I'm on the right path to get more eyeballs on my work.
Yeah.
Right? And so that is really the key to this and why it's so like this topic is amazing because it's just going to make everything you do just, garner results, right? Instead of just doing things just for the heck of it. Like I'm pretty sure you guys can think of things you'd rather be doing than writing a blog. So if you're going to do it, like let's do it right.
Yeah, make sure you can get found.
Yeah, because that is the purpose.
Yeah.
And so let's see, we've got another comment. Just starting, this is so great. Wondering about how important the format is for blog posts with headlines, etc. Okay, so do you have any comments on that?
Yeah. So I think it's very important for user experience, for people staying on your page longer, for conversions, as well as SEO too. So every time you have a headline and subheadline, don't forget about your subheadlines.
Okay, yeah.
It helps Google understand how your blog post is organized. And I would always put keywords or variations of your keywords in the headers and subheaders wherever you can. And whenever it sounds natural and not like forced.
Yeah.
It's more than anything besides that, it's easier on the eyes for people. So instead of listing out these long sentences, where can you bullet instead? Where can you add in an image so it doesn't look like a Wikipedia page? So you definitely want to make sure that you are optimizing for just the consumer on-page experience as well as Google. And headlines and subheadlines specifically do both of that.
Oh, that's great. Okay, perfect. And Karen says, Paddle Ground, Washington. I've only just started this SEO thing. And from what we learned in the monthly program, from what we learned from Rita, my tech genius in my monthly program, learning how to use those keywords and search questions in the headings of my blog posts. Great. Yeah. So good. Okay, so we're talking about the steps, right? Or the few things. So the first thing I think is to do some keyword research, right?
Yes.
And I think that can scare a lot of people, like, "Ooh, keyword research." Right?
Yeah.
So, like, can you give us a little, like, how would you, like, where do you start with that? For someone that really is brand new to this, what does that mean? I know, I bet people understand what it ultimately means.
So
I
what does
think
it
the
look like?
struggle is like, how do you do it? Well, where do you even start?
Yeah. With a piece of paper and yourself.
Okay.
And sit down and put what your services are, your
Mhm.
offerings, what you do. So for me, I could put digital marketing agency, SEO agency,
Okay.
SEO marketer, SEO consultant. And I kind of just come up with a running list, as well as the questions. Like, so some of the top questions that I get, how to implement SEO, how is SEO different than social media? Um, and you don't have to get crazy. You can just start with whatever you feel comfortable with. Like if you want to start with 3, that's great.
Mhm.
And then go to Uber Suggest and type those in.
Okay.
Once you Uber Suggest, you're going to see a whole long list of keyword ideas. And from there, you're going to add to your list only the ones that you actually want to start optimizing for. And you're probably going to remove some from your original list too. So you're going to get this list at the end of like, okay, I have these keywords. Now I have to assign them to a page of my website. So you want every page on your website to have a different keyword. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So if you have health coach on every single page, Google's going to crawl your website and be like, well, I don't know which page to show anybody. And they're going to get confused. And then they're probably just going to throw all of them on the 5th page of Google, where
Oh,
nobody
that is a gem of a tip. Wow.
cannibalize yourself.
Okay,
Mhm.
guys, did you catch that? That is worth the price of admission right there, right?
Yeah. And so what I personally like to do is I like to optimize for a more broad keyword and my business name for my homepage. I like to go for maybe a less broad, but still broad keyword and my name for my about page. Then the services pages will just inherently be a little bit more specific. And then the blog post, Karen mentioned this, is when I hit hard of what questions people are asking
Okay.
and like the longer form keywords and queries that people are typing into Google. So I can actually write content.
Mhm.
And there's actually like a very strategic way and reason why I do that is because each one has a different purpose. So SEO audit services is going to be far down the purchase funnel. So you're going to get less people to your website, but you want
Okay,
to get them to a page where you are telling them all about your services. Whereas
okay.
somebody asking a question might not know that they need you, might not know who you are or need your services, but you've started the conversation. So now you're first top of mind when they're at the top of the purchase funnel.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Very, very strategic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, really, the one of the big takeaways is you wanna focus on one keyword per page
Yep.
of your
Mhm.
website. Like, that is gold. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I would assume, I mean, I've never actually sat down and, like, worked this through on my own website, but it doesn't seem like, it's counterintuitive. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say there. It's a little
Yeah.
bit counterintuitive.
Yeah, and if that still feels daunting, take one keyword and focus on your homepage. You
Okay.
know, and work on that first, and then you can go to the other page if,
Okay.
the whole shebang of everything freaks you out.
Okay. I love it. That's so good. Okay. So, are there any other, like, initial steps that we wanna talk about here to
Yeah.
starting your SEO journey?
So, what do you do with the keywords once you get them? I think might be a big question.
Okay.
Every single page on your website is going to have an SEO settings, or if you have WordPress, make sure you have a plugin like Yoast. That's just what
Okay.
we use. And then you'll have the opportunity to put in a title and description. So
Okay.
you want to make sure your keywords are in both of those. You want to make sure the keywords and variations of the keywords, again, you want to sound natural, not like a robot, are in your headlines, are in your copy. So I can't tell you how many times people are like, I'm not getting found for this keyword. And I go to their page. I'm like, it's nowhere to be found. Like, how do we know? Like, literally, like, you know, a big thing is like, hi, I'm Caitlin on the top of a website.
Yeah.
And this is who I work with. But I'm like, wait, but I don't even get to your services until way down there. It's not in a headline. It's not in any of your settings. So if, you know, it's just, you have to think like Google would think. You know, they're coming to your website. They don't know who you are. They're just reading text on the background. Their
Right.
little crawlers are. So you want to make sure that you drive them and they know, like, this is the keyword I want you to rank me for.
Okay. So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see in terms of SEO implementation?
The biggest one I would say is the one I just mentioned, but also a lot of these website builders, they default to what is in your navigation bar. So your about page, title tag. So when I talk about title and description, if you search into Google, the title is the blue link. It's like the headline that you click on to go out to a website. And the description underneath that is called meta description, something along those lines. It's each website builder kind of has a different name for it, but the technical term is meta description. Any description or SEO description that you see, you want to put that in there. So the title tag will just say about, and then it'll say your company name. But if it's doing that for every page, every single page is optimized for a random keyword because Google has no idea what about means, you know, and then your company name. And I think it's okay to have your company name on every title tag, which, you know, is the exception of what I just said to the actual main keyword.
Yeah.
But if there's no other keyword on there, Google's still not going to understand what your website is. And the person who comes to Google and just sees about, they're going to be like, all right, we're going to go on to the next one below that.
Okay. All right. So, so do we have to adjust the title, like the page, the navigation bar titles?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
So yeah, that's where you go. If you go to any page and you click on settings, there's always going to be an SEO part of it.
Okay.
And that's where you go and put that in.
Okay. That's really interesting. So like, what would you put for the about page?
So for me, I would put SEO consultant, SEO expert. Then I always like to put like a separator, and you can use different separators. I use the vertical line. So I'll put SEO consultant. I just personally like the way it looks. Then I'll put Caitlin Strempel, CEO of Rising Ranks Digital, something along those lines. So I'm optimizing for a keyword and also optimizing for my name.
Okay.
Because SEO is two parts. SEO is you want to reach the people who have no idea who you are, but want your services and don't know who to go to.
Yeah.
The other one is like what we talked about at first is your name got brought up at a dinner party and somebody wants to research you. So you want to make sure that your services are findable and you are findable.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of a two-prong strategy there with the about. Okay. Amazing. Any other big mistakes that you see?
No. Okay. So we know Google Analytics. Google Analytics is great. Google Analytics also has a little sister or brother on the side that is always forgotten about, called Google Search Console.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Tell us about that.
It's free. You should definitely link up to it.
Okay.
So Google Analytics, it tells you where your traffic is coming from, how it's converting, what content is converting really well, like what blog posts, things like that. Google Search Console will tell you how you're ranking on Google, how your click-through rates are on your title tags and meta descriptions.
Okay.
And it will show you things like if you have pages that are competing with each other, or if there are any issues with your website that are inhibiting you from getting to the first page. So just like anything with analytics and just like Google Search Console, with Google Analytics, you want to make sure that you are connected to it. Okay. Because when you're in there and you're actually creating content, optimizing, it's like if you don't have those analytics in front of you, you're kind of just like flying blind. You have no dashboard. It's your dashboard that is going to put you in the right direction of what to do next and how to optimize.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's another great tip. Yeah, because we always just hear Google Analytics, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And not so much about the console, Google Console. So what you're saying is you need both,
Yes. Yep.
kind of
Hmm.
do different things
Yeah.
and give you different bits of data that can help you to make strategic decisions on how to move forward.
Exactly.
Okay, so good. All right. Any final, as we start to wrap up, any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with us today in terms of this awesome topic of SEO?
Yeah. The fastest way to get up to the top of Google is create a Google My Business account.
Okay.
It's the fastest way, and it's how you get into the map section. So you should do this if you are, so if you're a service provider,
Yeah.
and you can be brick and mortar, you can be online, you can be
Okay.
local, you can be national now. So take advantage of that, fill it out completely, put in a few keywords that you found are really good, and make sure that you utilize it. You put the images in, and even right then and there, you'll at least be able to start getting found by the people who are closest to you. And
Mhm.
again, you'll be one step ahead of the competition, because that's always an oversight.
Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, to be clear, it doesn't sound like it has to be brick and mortar.
No, it does
Okay.
not.
All right. Was it ever that way?
Yeah, it used to be that way,
Yeah.
and it used to be
Okay.
only local businesses, and
Okay.
now over
That's
the
what I
past few
thought.
years, yeah, it's growing, so which is
Okay.
really exciting. I know.
Okay. Google My Business, everybody.
Yeah.
It's like an easy, I love steps like that. Like literally, you guys can go do this right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
literally, let's get it done. I'm gonna do the same. That's a great tip. Very
Um,
actionable.
yeah, and then other than that, make it your own. I think SEO can be very daunting for people,
Mhm.
but consistency is key, and it doesn't have to be hours upon hours every week. Just
Okay.
start doing little bits and pieces now. Like
Okay.
we said earlier, start with one keyword and start with optimizing one page, and that's it. And
Okay.
take it from there.
Okay. Awesome. So, all right. Well, these have been just kind of mind-blowing tips, to be honest with you. I loved every single one. What do you recommend? So for my audience, that wants to find out more, or maybe wants to even work with you to help them to optimize their SEO, what would you recommend for them?
I would say to go to the website, risingranksdigital.com, or my DMs are always open at Caitlin Strempel on Instagram. So if you have any questions or any concerns or anything you want to chat further about, you can always find me there.
Okay. So it's Rising Ranks Digital, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
that's the website, risingranksdigital.com. Did I spell that right? I think so. Okay. So guys, I just put it in the comments. Rising. Yes, I think I did that right. Okay, awesome. Well, this has been fabulous.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been really so helpful. Thanks for your time. And guys, I guess before we wrap up, any questions? Any final questions that you want to run by Caitlin before we call it a day? It's been so good. Rising Ranks, and that's plural, risingranksdigital.com.
Yeah.
I really like the option of having a website audit.
Yeah, it's been great. It's good for anybody who wants to update their website, who
Yeah.
has never done SEO before, and even just before you launch, it's a good package too, because
Yeah.
it always helps to launch and Google just automatically knows what you're about.
Yeah. 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 I really, really like that idea. Um, and that way, you can, so I'm assuming you guys do the keyword research.
Oh yeah, we do
Okay.
everything. Mhm.
So that is perfect. So then, guys, all you have to do is, you can go on the back end and implement yourself.
Yep.
So it kind of takes away that a lot of the heavy lifting. So okay, so Karen says she just had an audit done and it was very enlightening. Awesome.
Hear
Okay,
that.
fantastic. This was so good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. Okay, guys. So Thanks again, Caitlin. Really appreciate your time today and really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with my audience. It's really priceless. So thank you for all of that, for all that you do in this SEO world. And so, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you have a great day, an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week. All right. So bye, everybody.